G'day everyone. Episode 38. Once again, well, probably when we get to 40, we'll stop talking about the numbers. And we'll just say g'day. We're going to cover lots and nothing tonight. We're just going to call it a bit of a random chat just about the world of darts. All it's not really anything more specific than what's happened and who's played and what's been played. Because there's just so much happening at the moment that's what I'm dedicating my time to. Once the Premier League's over, there will be a bit of a busy July, but I should have a little bit of time in between to really get some stuff on the fly for you all and start having a look at other things. But tonight we've got Premier League Euro Tour event that was on. A little bit closer to home, the Sunshine State Classic, another win for the Guru. Emu Bay Classic down in Tasmania, the King Cadby. We're going to have a quick chat about how well Justin Miles is going. He may be the man to beat the Guru. And an update on my new dartboard that I bought, the Shot Bandit Duro. All right, so Joe Cullen won night 15. Just one to go now before finals night. And it's the second edition of the mini seeded tournament. They're all mini tournaments. So this is the seeded one where 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, yada, 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 so on and so forth. But yeah, Joe Cullen won it. He put himself into 4th position, equal on points with Peter Wright, but because he's won 2, maybe even 2 nights now, 2 or 3 nights, I think. I think Joe's won 2. Now that he's won more than Peter Wright, that's for sure. And that means that it goes equal on points. Then it's separated by night wins. After that, it's separated by individual wins if they're on the same amount. And yeah, pretty straightforward. Gerwyn Price is 4 points behind those two. And with those two playing each other, Joe Cullen and Peter Wright, one's 4th, Joe's 4th, Peter's 5th. Either one of those is going to guarantee themselves 2 points. You get 2 points for winning your quarterfinal. So Gerwyn Price cannot make the finals now unless someone gets disqualified or they fall off a cliff and cannot appear. So, yeah, poor old Gezzy's out, and he was my tip to win. So, a bit unfortunate for both Gerwyn Price and myself because I don't look like I'm very knowledgeable at darts when I tip someone and they don't to win the whole thing and they don't even make the knockouts. Unfortunate. It was the best Joe Cullen had looked for the whole Premier League, I reckon. He won one night, made a final another, but this was pretty solid and looked like he was really up and about and could do some damage. He sat around that 93, 94 average mark for the whole night. He had a 6-1 quarterfinal win over Gary Anderson, who didn't really look like he was at the races. 6-1 win over Peter Wright in the semi, so took care of both the Scots and did it in style. No 180s for Snakebite and just 15% on his doubles, so it wasn't great performance by Peter Wright either, as he continues to tinker and tinker and tinker, which is just absolutely beyond me. He won the World Match Play and the World Championship with the same thin, normal stem length gold darts. He played amazing. When he changed from those black ones against Damo to those gold ones, I think it was the 3rd round, he looked sensational. So I'm not sure why the change. He used those darts in the final against Michael Smith. As I said, he used them at the match play last year and was dominant there. So strange, but it is what it is. Peter Wright will want to turn that around before they play each other, which he will do, which is coming up next week, which is going to be an interesting battle. A 6-4 win over Johnny in the final for Joe Cullen. So I thought Johnny would get it done and looked like he was on his way to doing it most of the way, but Joe Cullen was too good in the end. Peter Wright did get a win over James Wade. Wadey couldn't get his scoring going. He has been very, very good on his scoring of late, but that just wasn't there for him on the night. So they both finished pretty well around that 50% mark. Michael Smith got to a 4-1 lead over MVG in a strange old tussle filled with some missed doubles and huge finishes and just a weird old game of darts. And it just happens to the best of us. I think one of the commentators said at one stage because they were missing multiple darts, 7 to 8 darts in a leg at double. MVG got it back to 5-5 after going 4-1 down, and had a 145 checkout, a 120 checkout, couple of 12 and 13 dart legs in there. So he really got going once it got to 4-1. And in the last leg, the deciding leg, Bully Boy threw a 20 dart leg to get over the line. So that's what I mean. So Michael Van Gerwen's throwing pegs of 120 and 145, 12 dart leg, 13 dart leg, and then let someone hold throw with 7 visits to the board. That's what happened, and it was a strange old match. So there you go. As we move over the page, yes, I use notes. Notes are a very important part of life. If you write down what's on your mind, then you can read it if you forget it. Johnny Clayton versus Gerwin Pricey. I needed to write down the word Johnny to remind me that it was Johnny Clayton. I should have wrote Johnny Clayton, not just Johnny. Johnny looked the goods from the get-go. Basically ended Gerwin's chances once Gerwin lost and Joe had a good night. It was curtains. As a 96 average for Johnny, so did a pretty good job. I think Gerwin was around that 92, 93. So, yeah. As discussed, Joe Cullen versus Peter Wright, the other semi-final was... one of the semi-finals was one-way traffic for Joe Cullen. The other semi, Johnny Clayton versus Michael Smith, was a bit more of a contest that you want to watch. It was on throw till 4-4. Johnny took it from there, took over the match. Some double trouble for Michael Smith. Late was costly. 33% on his doubles versus MVG, 36 on his doubles versus Johnny Clayton. So an area of his game that he's really going to need to clean up. He was sensational at the Worlds on his scoring, on his doubling. Maybe the final, he was probably a little bit down on his doubling. But that's a potential of best of 71 leg match. So sometimes that just happens. But definitely not up to par for what Michael Smith can normally produce. And I feel like it's either a big peg with a 1 dart at the double that he gets, or it's trouble after that. Johnny Clayton finished at 60%. And that's a common theme in Michael Smith's games that he's really going to want to try and get on top of, which he should be able to, and I think he will, because he has proven that he can do it. It's just about doing it for longer periods of time. I'm not too sure what the method is to try and prevent that and try and improve that. For me, it would just be combo finishing maybe for your practice. So try and get big pegs. So set yourself up on 164, 145, 132, all those sorts of things. Or just play from 201, but make sure you finish the leg and don't just go, oh, well, didn't get it in 6, so let's go back to the start. Because there are a lot of games where it says that just if you don't get it in 6 starts, 201 in 6, then start again. And that's a mistake. You got to finish legs. So sometimes I'll do things like that. I'll do 21 or you do around the world with doubles, something like that. The most effective thing for me is when I'm on those doubles, actually hitting it, making sure you're hitting that double and getting it done. So I do like to play 21, I call it. So trying to finish 501 in 21 darts, because it's good to be doing, especially at the level I'm at. If I'm finishing in 21, that's good. It's going to win me games, and you improve from there. So I'm not saying I'm always only going to get 21 darts, but if I can have 21 as the base and work my way lower from there, so down to 18 and have a 15 in there, I'm going all right. But so to stop that, if I do 21, for however long I do 21, I'll spend maybe a quarter of that. So if I play 21 for half an hour, maybe 7 to 8 minutes I'll spend on my preferred doubles of 20s and 10s. Most of the time I'll spend on those, so 20, 10, 5, but making sure I'm hitting it. So if I go inside, I'm then going to go to 10. If I go inside, I'm going to go to 5. And making sure I'm finishing it all the way. And then you move to 16s and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's one way I think it could be fixed up for Michael Smith. But I don't know how he practices and what he does. All right, the final. It was Johnny's 8th final Joe Cullen's third. Joe Cullen had won one of his two and previous ones, and Johnny was 4 of 7 previous ones. Some brilliance and some moments not as brilliant, but still pretty good. Yeah, there was a 21 dart leg for Joe, 20 dart leg for Johnny, 144 peg for Johnny, but we know Johnny Clayton can do that, especially when it's a pretty simple peg like a 141, 144, 121, 120, 100, all that sort of stuff. He's pretty good at all those. Johnny missed double 16 to take it all the way to a siding leg because it did go 6-4 to Joe Cullen. But yeah, so he pushed him all the way, or most of the way, but just Joe Cullen was just ended the night pretty well. So it was a pretty consistent night for Joe Cullen. As I said, most of the Premier League, he's been a bit iffy, a bit up and down. He'll have a night of brilliance, a game of brilliance, a couple of legs of brilliance, and then really let himself down as the night progresses from there. So let's take them off for a minute. So yeah, it's Joe, good in patches, brilliant in patches, and showed that he belongs. And then other times it's a bit like, well, Rob Cross would definitely be outdoing what Joe's producing, but all in all, a good pick because he's through to the finals. Well, it looks like he may get through to the finals. I honestly don't think he will, but we'll get to that now. So the Premier League ladder, we'll bring that up for you. What we'll do is we'll put me in front of the Premier League ladder and my beer. Cheers. And we'll get rid of me on the mower so that you can see Gary Anderson. We'll move my beer to there. So Johnny Clayton and Michael Van Gerwen all sewed up. Basically, won't move, actually can't move from there. So 5 points is the most on offer in one night. So Johnny's well and truly 5 points clear of MVG. MVG is well and truly 5 points clear of James Wade. James Wade is, well, if he is safe because if Peter Wright wins, that means Joe Cullen's out. If Joe Cullen wins, that means Peter Wright's out. So James Wade is safe. He is through to finals night. Gerwin Price on 18 points can't make it, as it is only 4 points behind, but both Joe and Peter who play each other cannot be, one of them has to get some points unless there is somehow miraculously a 1 point draw or they both cannot make it. Michael Smith down on 16 points. Rescued it a little bit. It was looking a bit dicey earlier. I don't see him winning on Friday morning, Thursday night, so he goes through without winning an event. And Gary Anderson with just the 9 points, so 5 points from his night win, so just 2 other wins for Gary Anderson. So if this was the other Premier League, he would only have 6 points total. But anyway, that's all good. So we don't need the ladder there anymore. We can move on from that. There won't be much change, as I said. The lower down let's bring it back. The lower down the order stuff. So Gary can't move from there. Michael Smith can get himself to 21 points with a win, which is pretty respectable and would put him ahead of Gerwin Price. Gerwin Price can get himself to 23 points, which unfortunately will have him just out of finals because one of those two is going to make it. One of Joe Cullen and Peter Wright are on 22 points, are going to make it to 24. So a little bit of shuffling can happen down the bottom of the ladder, but from first to fourth, not much change can happen. It's really just Peter Wright can get in and Joe Cullen can drop out. MVG and Johnny and James Wade, very, very safe. Right, so next week, as we said, is the seeded style tournament. We will leave this up here, actually, to go through what the seeded means. So Johnny's seeded first. He will play 8th seed Gary Anderson. On the other side of the draw, you will have 2nd seed Michael Van Gerwen versus 7th seed Michael Smith. The same side as those two will be the the Gerwin Price James Wade, which is 3 versus 6. And the 4 versus 5 clash of Joe Cullen, Peter Wright will play the winner of the Johnny Clayton Gary Anderson clash. So we can get rid of the ladder because that's what the seeded style tournament consists of. We can move my beer back over in front of the dartboard. That looks creepy. It looks really creepy. That's the green screen doing that. Johnny versus Gaz. I think Johnny wins that. And he plays the winner of Joe Cullen versus Peter Wright. Joe Cullen will have the darts in that one. because he's finished higher, he'll get first crack. But I think Peter Wright wins that. I think he'll turn up. He'll just use those gold darts that he always uses, and he will win. Michael Van Gerwen, that will make Joe Cullen out of the Premier League, which is a shame for him, but a great effort nonetheless. Michael Van Gerwen to beat Michael Smith and put an end to Bully Boy's attempt to get a night win. And I think James Wade will beat Gerwin Price, and Gerwin Price will then focus his attention to the rest of the year that's coming up. It's a massive second half of the year. Probably just not even as busy because the Premier League's on every week, and the Euro Tour and Players' Championships is basically every weekend plus Thursday night. But you're coming into the longer format stuff with the longer tournaments. So Premier League's only once a week. And then 2 matches on the final night, which are best first to 10. Everything else is that. But the other tournaments is darts for maybe a week straight, maybe 2 weeks straight. In the case of the Worlds, it goes for 3 weeks basically. So it's a lot of darts. Yeah. So then you've got Johnny versus Peter in one of the semis. I think Peter Wright takes that. Michael Van Gerwen versus James Wade. I think Michael Van Gerwen wins that. And I think I'm tipping Peter Wright to win the night. He's got a point to prove to get himself into the finals. And he will have started and finished the regular season, we'll call it, with a couple of wins. All right. That's the Premier League done, and we cannot wait for the final night. The European Darts Grand Prix was played, and you had a Luke Humphries versus Rob Cross final yet again. A double up of the European Tour in the previous week. Luke Humphries won this one 8-7. Poor old Rob Cross, and it's the same old Rob Cross. He is playing phenomenal darts and looks the best player in the tournament, in most tournaments that he's in. Just going to put my head backwards because it's easier for you to see my eyes, which look a bit weird tonight. All right, back into it. Yeah, Rob Cross, he looked amazing once again. We'll talk a little about it a little bit more in a minute, but his performance against Damien Hedder was next level and was the performance of the tournament. But Luke Humphries looked pretty good, and he beat Peter Wright in the semi-final 7-4 with a 108 average and a 50% checkout rate, so that's impressive stuff. He beat Brendan Dolan 6-0, Joe Mernon 6-3. Did survive a last leg decider versus Ryan Meikle, but that last leg never even was in doubt. I think he won that with Meikle back on about 250 points. So, but you got the job done in the last leg. That's pretty important. Damien Hedder, he made the semi-final. He ran into an absolutely rampant Rob Cross, who is just looking phenomenal. I think Rob Cross is starting to look really, really good. 110 average from Rob. That's sensational stuff. So for Damien Hedder to get 4 legs on the board against someone averaging 110 is a fantastic effort, and hats off to you, Damo. Beat Ryan Searle and Martin Schindler and Mickey Mansell 6-5 on his way to that semi-final. So last leg deciders all the way through basically for Damien Hedder until the semi-final, where he couldn't get that close to Rob Cross, unfortunately. But a tense weekend. To go last leg in all 3, I had one go last leg the other night in the online comp, and there's nothing on the line for that, and it was still tense. The bloke had a dart, I think he had 99 left, hit 57, 10 left to leave 32, and he just went inside, and then I came back and ping tops first dart to win. No, I think it was 32 because I hadn't gone 32 all night. But yeah, so it's tense stuff. No matter what level you're at, a last leg decider is like shit. That he threw first in all 3 of those legs, so he's won the bull in all those matches. So well done to him. Geez, my head looks big. That's the angle that the camera's on. That's not my head being that big. Let's just turn it up a little bit. Not too high because then you won't see the beach. That's all right. And my head doesn't look as big. I think it's in the same spot. But yeah, so he won the bull in all of those. So that's how important it is to win the bull a lot of the time. So don't just throw that away. Make sure you do everything you can to win the bull, because you never know when it's going to come down to the last leg decider. And if 2 people throw similar scores, well, you're obviously going to be on par if you're getting yourselves to a last leg decider. So you're going to be potentially on par in that last leg. And if you have the darts first, all you have to do is throw a ton and your opponent is under considerable amount of pressure from the get-go. But in all those last leg, but in those last leg deciders, he did not give any of those players a dart or a double. So well done to Damon Hedder. I almost said Ryan Zell. To do that is phenomenal. To stand up to that sort of pressure, phenomenal. And then to run into Rob Cross and still get 4 legs on the board, bloody sensational. And he is now moved up to number 19 in the world, as Damon Hedder. So things are looking fantastic for Damon. How high can he get? Look, I'm not going to put a lid on it. The lid's off here in Hedder World, over here in Australia, especially in Perth. They're going to put a statue of him on whatever the main street in Perth is. I don't know if they have any streets over there, but the main one will have Damon Hedder on it. He will be in action at the Dutch Darts Championships this week in Zwolle. I don't know how to pronounce that. I think that's right. But yeah, more European Tour action coming up for Damon Hedder. And there's a lot coming up for him in the next little bit as well. I think it's August or September is going to be a massive month. He should be, I think July right through is going to be big. So he's had all the World Series events over here. He'll play at the World Match Play. The World Cup of Darts is in June. So a big chance for us all to see Damon Hedder and a bit of Simon Whitlock on the TV as well. And those fantastic idea of the World Series coming to Australia. You're going to see some brilliant Australian darts players, Gordon Mathers, Simon Whitlock, Damon Hedder, plus 1 Kiwi and 4 more Aussies up against the PDC's best. So it's sensational stuff. And guarantee, I'm putting my hat in the ring now, or putting my house, or whatever you want to say, I'm tipping minimum 4 upsets in at least one of those events. There's going to be 4 upsets, guarantee it. All right, let's move a bit closer to home. That's a nice little segue by me. That was unintended, talking about PDC moving to the World Series stuff, which is based in Australia, 2 of them, then to the Australian tournaments. That is exquisite, unscripted, unplanned media. That is phenomenal by me. Well done. Let's move a little closer to home. Up here in the Sunshine State, Darts Australia event, I'm pretty sure it was a ranked event. The Sunshine State Classic. Tori Kewish won the women's event. I couldn't see the results online, but I'm pretty sure there was a mixed doubles as well, who she won that with Raymond Smith. So a dominant weekend by a couple of Aussie darts superstars, more so Raymond Smith because he also won the men's doubles and the singles. Tori wasn't able to take out the women's doubles. In the ladies singles, she dropped just 6 legs for the whole day. So that's through all the round robin, through the 4 knockout matches that she played, she dropped just 3 legs. She's an incredible talent, and hopefully she will be playing permanently over in the PDC more consistently, especially with the women's series coming up. Hopefully the PDC structure that a little bit better next year, and they don't have 4 events across 2 days, and they spread out a bit more, just like the Players' Championships for the men. That would be the best way to do it, not the way they're currently rolling. I mean, it's good to have it, but I just don't think it's as sustainable. All right, the Guru won the men's pairs with Robbie King. What a team that is, Robbie King and the Guru Raymond Smith, arguably 2 of Australia's best in the one team. He also won the singles, did the Guru. I think the pairs, they beat Jamie Rundle and Jeremy Fagg, so that's another fantastic darts team. You wouldn't want to run into them in any tournament. They look pretty good in winning both events, more so the singles. Plenty of 90-plus averages in the knockout stages, couple of 100-pluses. They're only 2 legs, so it's not as much to write home about. He had a couple of cracking matches against Jeremy Fagg and Jamie Rundle in the knockouts. He had a big 160 peg throughout the day. A few 180s in there as well, an 11 dart leg. So the Guru, we haven't seen him a lot of late. He did miss the events 7, 8, and 9 due to floods. Didn't compete at 10, 11, 12. Hopefully we see him at 13, 14, 15, which will be in a couple of weeks. But the darts still seem to be coming out all right, and he is the main man here in Australia. Yeah, probably the main man in Australia and the tough one to beat besides maybe Jamie Rundle, who I think is always a hot chance to knock him off. I just love the way Jamie throws darts. I love everything about what he does, and I'd love to have a chat to him, meet him one day. So if you're listening, Jamie, get in contact. So another nice little segue by myself there, because there's two guys I'm thinking about when I think who can beat Raymond Smith at the moment. There is a lot of gun talent out there in Australia. As I said, there's Jamie Rundle, Jeremy Faggs throwing brilliant darts, Bill Aiken and Mick Lacey up here in Queensland, a phenomenal Kai. His son is a great darts player. Go all the way around Australia. WA's chock is full of about 50 people that are gun players. Got Danny Porter down there in South Australia, Mitchell Clegg up in New South Wales, a few others in New South Wales that are really starting to hit their stride. Victoria's loaded with players coming, Coburn, Weaning, no, you name them. But there's two names that stand out in my mind as to who can potentially take Raymond Smith out and take that crown and actually make it an interesting contest, because at the moment everything he rocks up to, it's almost a non-issue. Which is fantastic for Raymond, and I love Raymond, and I love watching him play darts. But I know that just as many Australians, and this is what it's about, just as many Australians are as talented as him and can make it as well, do as well as he did at the Worlds. If you go and beat him, then you're going to be in your head, I can go to the Worlds and make top 16 as well, which is what we want to see. More people having a crack and getting involved and trying to make it big time over there in England. Number one, the first player, Corey Cadby. We've spoken about him recently, named a whole episode after him. Where's my logo? Boom. And he's just won the Emu Bay Classic down there in Tasmania, so he's definitely starting to roll in the darts a bit more, definitely starting to roll the arm over and have a bit more of a throw, which is brilliant for Australian darts and brilliant for me to watch. He has the game to be a top 8 player in the world, does Corey Cadby. He's got a simple throw. He's up, he's lined up, it's in front of him, and it's bang. And he almost breaks dartboards. It's like almost Brandon Weaning like in his throw. It's just bring it back, bang. And that's what you want. That's what you want to see. You want to see people just simple throw, almost breaking dartboards, making it look easy. And I'm hearing plenty of whispers here and there. A lot of people in the UK talking about a potential for him to make a comeback. And when they're talking about it, as I said before, there's one reason why they're doing it, because a lot of the people in the UK don't want him to, because they were worried about taking his spot. The media do. A lot of darts experts, commentators and all that would love to have him back, but a lot of the players aren't interested because it's just one more person that's going to overtake their spot. The second player, we had a bit of a mention about him, I think last week or the week before. Justin Miles is in the absolute form of his life. He's top of the WA DPA list, the order of merit there. He just won. Now, Dartstream Live held an event. They've got the Neil Duff, the Duff man, who just won the WWF Lakeside World Championship, competing in an online tournament, which they call, not a tournament, a match called a Smashdown, they call it, first to 21 legs. And they had a big 8-man tournament with some of Australia's best players competing, a couple of Kiwis as well. And the winner, it was first to 11, and the winner was to play that. So Justin Miles has won maybe 4 or 5 events of the DPA. Had a cracking weekend last weekend. He won 2 of them. And he's now come out and he's won this night that had, so I'll give you the names of the other competitors. Mal Cumming, James Bailey, Ben Robb, Brody Clinch, Hohai Puha, I think it is, Bailey Marsh and Stewie Coburn. So what a list of players to get through. And he didn't beat every one of them. It was a tournament style setup. So I think he beat Ben Robb, Kiwi's number 1. I don't know if he's actually the number 1. Ho Puha maybe. Hopai, I think it is. Hopai Puha. He might be number 1, but Hopai's over in England at the moment, competing in the Challenge Tour consistently, trying to get his tour card. So they're 2 guns, and then he came out and beat Stewie Coburn, who's had some sort of resurgence himself. He is in absolutely brilliant form, is Stewie Coburn. So to play like that, fantastic. So now he gets a chance to play the WWF World Champ Neil Duff. And if he wins that, then sky is the limit. Sky's roof's a ceiling. Ceiling's a roof. Who would know? His averages at the moment are absolutely sky high. So all through an online tournament, which you do get very comfortable in your own home, and it's probably once you get to his level, when you're at my level, it lifts you up being comfortable in your own home. Being comfortable in your own home when you're a professional can slightly drop you down a bit because you are just too comfortable. You're not even actually focusing that much because you're just at home thinking, I might go to bed soon. But he was able to consistently average 90 plus, or maybe even high 80s and 90 plus. His averages over at the DPA were phenomenal. He had 100 average against David Platt in the final. Everything he throws looks like it's going in exactly where he wants it to. He's faced Chizzy in 2014 at the World Series and then has not played much since then. What a shame he's done his interview on Dartstream Live. He's not coming over for the World Series qualifiers. So there's 8 spots available. There's 3 spots available for Australians. So there's 4. 3 Australians, 1 Kiwi, 4 the 3 pro Australians that are coming over. 1 Kiwi and 4 amateurs. And that's at the 2 events. So that's Australia, the Townsville and Wollongong. And there's a spot for 1 Australian at the New Zealand Darts Masters. So the point of that is that he's not coming over to compete in that, and it's lowering his chances of being seen. So hopefully he can get himself over here for the Oceanic and the Order of Merit finals and book a spot at the Worlds, because that's the quality I think he is at the moment. I think he's easily going to get himself there. I think it's probably Raymond Smith and it's Justin Miles. I think Brandon Weaning might have a bit to say about that, but I think those 2 are the guys that are going to go over there. But if he doesn't get through in that to make the Worlds, then it's another year that we've missed out on seeing him play. And unfortunately, it's another little bit of a whack for the DPA to allow that to happen. I think your form player, if you're not running location to location, you don't know who your form player is. As I said, Raymond Smith won 5 in a row from events 2 to 6. Sorry, no, he won 4 in a row because he didn't play event 2 from 3 to 6 and hasn't played since. How that's happening, I'm not sure. Danny Porter's looked the most dominant out of anyone else, the most dominant person. So you've got Weaning coming. They're always in the finals with Coburn. Queensland, Robbie King's in most finals. New South Wales, Dave Hannell's doing really well. But Danny Porter's absolutely dominating. But over in WA, for Justin Miles to be leading that, and by a considerable margin, I think it's 40-odd points. He might be ahead of the next lot. And to show how even WA is, there's 4 players equal. So I think Joe Comito, Bailey Marsh, David Platt, and Tim Pusey are all level in second spot, with Justin Miles way ahead. So now for that kind of quality, the idea of the World Series is to showcase what we have in Australia, not to just throw together some qualifiers and have Johnny come lately, have a good day and get himself there. Look, some of those players have an off day and average 70, and I've averaged 70 before. So all it would take is an off day for someone like that and a really on day for someone at my level, and there's potential for a knockout. So, and that just wouldn't be good for the PDs, the look of the PDC, to have someone get on stage and average 60. Like, in here at Australia, we take the World Series pretty bloody serious. We want to win. It's not just up there for that experience. You see a lot of the other countries, it's all cheers and smiles and laughs. Our guys get up there. Just watch Raymond Smith take on Michael Smith. And even when he went to Vienna and almost knocked off Barney and beat Keegan Brown, I think it is, we're there to win, and we're all there to win. You've seen so many great performances, and they just don't stop. So for the DPA to allow it to slip that there's not a bigger push for Justin Miles to get over for that is a real shame, and they probably should take some sort of responsibility and, yeah, step up and get him over here. There's no way he should not be competing in this, especially after he got 6-0 by Dave Chisnell in 2014, where he didn't perform that badly at all. It was just that was prime Chizzy back then, 2014 to 2017. Dave Chisnell was next level good and was right up there as in the top 8, I think. So, yeah, what a shame. But we'll see what we can do to try and, I don't know, have a chat to him. See if we can get him on and get him over there. I'll sponsor him. I'll pay for it. I'll ask for a time off for his. I'll go over there and cover him. We'll see. All right, my new board, my new dartboard. So as you'll see in the background, the Blade 5. I've probably got maybe 5 to 10 mil of wire to board gap. That's how far out the wires are now sticking in some segments. Bit of overuse, not rotating enough. But I was always going to buy a new dartboard. As I've mentioned before, so I'm using a shot dartboard at the moment, the Shot Bandit Duro for my online matches, and I'll use it for 1 or 2 videos, and the Unicorn Eclipse for videos. I might use that for a game tomorrow night. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But at the moment, the Shot Bandit Duro is just fantastic. It's absolutely smooth. The wires, you cannot feel them. If I rub my hand along the one behind you, the Blade 5 that's copped the flogging, the wires are out a fair way and you can feel them. The Unicorn Eclipse, if you rub it the wrong way, you might get a little cut on you from the wires. They stick out a little bit, not as much as the Blade 5, but it's almost seamless on the Shot Bandit Duro. So I love it, and what I'm going to be doing at the moment, every night that I'm done with it, so I play 2 online matches a week, and sometimes I'll use it for other matches like random practicing, but probably not too much. I'll change it every night, so when I take it down, either that night or the next morning, I'll move the 20 around and rotate it each time. But yeah, at the moment, absolutely loving it. It's a fantastic dartboard. It looks amazing. The wires are that hard to see. They're that far in the board. It is hard to see. I've got pretty good eyesight, and twice last night I had to move forward to check if a dart was in the board. But yeah. All right, so that'll do us for tonight. What are we at? 37 minutes. I thought we had nothing to talk about. So there's a lot of darts that have come and gone, more to come up. Once the Premier League is done and dusted, we should be able to settle down a bit, do a few more interviews, a bit more chats. I can go through where my game is at. If anyone's interested in knowing that, I have been putting in a little bit of work, not as much as I like. I would love to have an hour and a half to 2 hours of training per day uninterrupted, but my lifestyle at the moment, you cannot do that. I probably get, if I haven't got an online match, probably 30 minutes, 35, 40 minutes a day of practice, sometimes more, maybe an hour if there's a night when I can get in the garage and have a game or two online, but probably around that 30 to 40 minute mark. If I've got a game, they're now first to 6, so they're over pretty quick, which is good. And yeah, so that's my game. We'll talk about that, do some interviews, and I'll work on the website for you and see what we can do there. And that was a 1 beer show. That's pretty piss poor, to be honest. Long live the darts, guys. Catch us later. Till next week.